Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry for the delay. I thought somebody was ahead of me in the order. I was just jotting some notes down here, collecting my thoughts because I like most of us, am benefiting from the discussion here and all the discussions we have on this important issue. We've got to find a solution and the right balance, but there are competing interests here. There are fundamental principles juxtaposed to one another. I'm a conservative. I believe in the inherent value of the fundamental property right, which is a foundational premise of our country. And we want the market to be fair to artists to produce it. At the same time, I'm genuinely concerned about the survival of terrestrial radio and the vital importance that local broadcasters play in our communities. And so it's not an easy one. I don't think it's easy for many of us, but we're struggling. And I got my start in some. I was a constitutional law attorney and all that, but I was a talk radio host as well. I was a local broadcaster, so I know a talk show host, and so I know the struggles they have. I know the very tight margins that they work under. I've been in those studios. I spent a lot of time in those places, and so I see their argument here. So what's been covered, I think, is one of the vital points and one of the real values I think that local broadcasters have in our communities. I come from Northwest Louisiana. I mean, we are natural disaster prone. We deal with hurricanes and tornadoes and all sorts of things. And our local broadcasters are an essential component of emergency preparedness. And the thought that they may not be there one day is of great concern to me and to many others. So I really appreciate my colleague what Mr. Shabbat said, bringing up the importance of radio in emergencies and some of the comments that have been made. Let me just ask Mr. Leggett, can you elaborate a little bit more on how passage of the American Music Fairness Act might affect emergency radio broadcasting?
Thank you, Congressman, for the question, as well as for your comments and recognition on the value of our local stations in your district and across the country. This legislation, which deals with one aspect of stations' relationship with the creative community and would result in substantial fees across our industry, will have a direct effect of leading to less reinvestment in the service that we're providing to communities. And so in times of emergency, hurricanes, wildfires, that just simply means less boots on the ground, less investment in our infrastructure, the emergency alerting system that was alluded to earlier. That takes real time and resources, work with the FCC. All of these are costs. It's less dollars to drive into that. And I think that has a real bottom line impact on the communities that all of you serve. Let me also say that the advocacy and the way that this issue is being characterized, I think, is somewhat misleading in the following way. The broadcast industry has grown up for 100 years around a legal framework where we are paying when we play music over the air. As Mrs. Stefan said earlier, when our music is played over the air, we are paying hundreds of millions of dollars in fees to ASCAP, BMI, these performing rights organizations. Those PROs distribute those dollars to songwriters. The songwriters have publishers. The publishers partner with labels. This is a business relationship that has enabled decades of growth in the broadcast industry and growth in the music industry and produced industries that are the envy of the world. So to just look at one fee on one aspect of this without looking at how the dollars trickle across all this, I'm absolutely committed to ensuring that artists have more dollars in their pocket. If the current system's not working to do that, let's work on that instead of just imposing a fee that's going to undermine those emergency services that you're asking about, Congressman.
I appreciate that. I only have a couple seconds left. Let me just say that for those of you that don't live in a tornado area, hurricane or whatever, there are many, many times in my life when I've been huddled in a hallway with my family as a child and then now as a parent with my 4 kids and my wife. And, the power's out. We're in areas with they don't have rural broadband that's reliable. The only connection you have in a weather emergency like that is the voice on that radio. And we all have battery powered radios for emergencies in Louisiana. It's an essential part of our life. So I'll close with that, yield back. I appreciate everybody's time.